it is Abuja now. How can that happen in Abuja? Because you have been hearing that this is happening. Not just in Abuja, it has happened in Abuja and it continues to happen in Abuja, right? But somehow you believe it will never happen to you, right? Or because you live abroad, so you can be a patriotic Nigerian living abroad, lying to yourself, okay? That you love Nigeria. It will touch you. It will touch all of us. It is touching us. It's just that at a different level and different grade. You put it that way. It is. And some guys came together to demand then for the removal of former governor of Jigawa, Badru, who is now the Minister of Defense. I have one here. Those are the pensioners protesting though, right? But here is something. I'm going to come back to the insecurity part too. But let's go to the economic part, right? If Numbusi legitimate government or regime is going to be a year in the next few days. And somehow, a lot of his ass leakers, the voluntary slaves, they have been scrambling left, right, and center to look for something, just anything, to cling on to and say, well, he's managed to do this. He's managed to do a lot. And yes, a lot of damages and destruction. But what has made it so impossible for him to attract anyone to bring investment to Nigeria and possibly create jobs? What? Many. In these charts, monitored on Arise News, I want to share their views with you before I add mine. Please.
Attitude to work, attitude to everything, to bring in foreign direct investment. You see, when you go outside and you talk to foreign investors, maybe you talk to presidents or whoever, as soon as you leave the room, they will sit down to have their own meeting. That's how investment works. It's like applying for a bank loan. As soon as you walk out of the door, the credit committee will sit down to have their own meeting. As to business application, what do you gentlemen think? What is his balance sheet here? Does he have, how much does he deposit in this bank in the first place? If my deposits in the bank is almost at sub-zero and Bosin is here to ask for $1 billion, or $1 billion, they're going to say, he doesn't even have deposit here to start with very well. What are his business? They're going to start scrutinizing your credit application, loan application, in your absence. So as soon as Mr. President leaves with his entourage, those countries will sit down with their presidents and the private sector to review Nigeria in our absence. So what they think about us, the assessments in our absence is what matters, not what goes on television. So the decision is not made through those handshakes. Decisions are made after those handshakes to say what are the realities on ground in Nigeria. Mr. President of that country, his minister, they've spoken, we've heard them. Now what do you decide? It's like looking for a wife. Now you guys are bachelors, whatever. The first thing is that you come, you bring palm wine or whatever. I'm not going there. I just okay, I'll take that back. But again, the decision is made to either give you the girl or not after the suitor's family had left. What do you think?
Discussing marriage.
Economic issues.
You know the in-house.
Because budget has to be involved in planning marriage as well.
The bachelors in-house.
I'm trying to link
the population.
Yeah, I'm talking about the budgeting process now.
Oh, okay.
Because they'll talk about the foreign direct inflow. Okay. What is the budgeting? What's the revenue of the prospective suitor? What is his balance sheet? You remember that pension fund that said, the father-in-law says, do you have a pension account? And the gentleman was looking like, I don't know what it is. When you have a pension account, come back and hear from my daughter. That is how investment works. So we want investment, you have to be suitable as a suitor. So is Nigeria a suitable destination for investment? We have opportunities. Now you find why investors, if you call an MDA, a minister, or the CEO of a DG, and it's not available for a day or for a week, that investor is not going to wait forever. Remember, every dollar that every investor wants to put anywhere in the world has a competition. So don't take yourselves too seriously. Take what you are doing too seriously. We tend to take ourselves too seriously in this country rather than take what we are doing so serious. We believe that we are serious, right? But again, are we doing things seriously? That is where the difference is. So that dollar is waiting. If you take 1 week out of 53 weeks in 2024, you are left with 52 weeks. That investor is not going to lose 1 week because that money is not even his own. Maybe it's a pension fund from Chicago, from wherever, and they are waiting for returns on their own investment. So every dollar we are asking for, either from India, from China, from everywhere, is competing with another dollar from another country, from another region in the world.
Listen, because you said a lot, and the truth is, it now makes sense why photo ops in Saudi, deals announced months after.
That's a reception.
Photo ops with Olaf Scholz, deals announced. So, I want Nigeria to succeed. What are the things we can do that when these investors will talk about Nigeria at the back of President Tinubu, they will talk about us favorably? Because there was a time that they used to talk about us for 8 years ago, 2015 here. Most of the FDAs into Africa flowed to Nigeria. But today...
That's our political capital.
But today, when people are talking about investment, in the oil sector, we call ourselves a giant of Africa and oil, but they are investing more in the oil sector in countries like Egypt that we will not tout.
Angola.
Yeah, and Angola.
Senegal,
not tout
Sierra
with our
Leone.
capacity. Senegal, Sierra Leone.
Yes, DR Congo.
Than us. Look at even Liberia. Look at Rio.
Yes.
The mining giant coming. So how will they talk about us and say, okay, this makes sense? Because if you say 200 million population, the first thing is, as we speak today, what's the purchasing power of that 200 million population?
Rufa, it's very simple. Tanzania just announced that their total investment deals done in 2024 was $20 billion.
Deals completed.
Yes, in 2024. Not announced. Was
Completed.
around $20 billion. President Samia Suluhu just sacked the entire board of the country's electricity company a few days to Christmas because she said, I'm tired of these power outages. She sacked the entire board. You can't mess with Madam President in Tanzania. Hold on a second. That's not over yet. If you look at the island of Zanzibar just next door, which was part of it, look at how investment flows is going there. South Africa had one of this worst year in terms of electricity outages in 2023. By the end of third quarter, September last year, South Africa has posted about $22 billion FDI into the country, even though they suffered two major economic downside. First, electricity up to level 8 outages by Eskom, and second, Transnet, which is the logistics company. The shipyards in South Africa, in Durban, everywhere was failed. The national rail line was in trouble. Despite that, foreign direct investments flew into South Africa between July and September last year up to the tune of about 20-something billion. But now, what does that tell you? That despite the fact that we have the same electricity problem in Nigeria, such investment flows was not coming here. Despite the problem of electricity in South Africa, some of the automakers in the world were still increasing their factory portfolio and production in South Africa, because South Africa lost its industrial #1 position in Africa to Egypt just about a year or two ago. And they are very sore about it. They are very unhappy. They want to get that title back as the industrial hub of the continent. Now, so when something is missing here, in which South Africa has a major power outages. I've tried to interview sometimes one of our correspondents in South Africa at my show at 7 p.m. and he says, I don't have electricity. I've had to talk to some investment executive chairman of company and say, oh, please hold on, I have to put on my generator to do it. In South Africa, yet investors were flowing in because they are doing massively. What did President Ramaphosa say? Look, he liberalized the whole thing. If you're doing 100 megawatts and below, It's free entry, free exit. I don't want to sign any paper. Just go bring it on. He brought in a new minister last year of electricity. Now you have a minister of power, but he brought in another minister that his job is to ensure that there is power 24/7 and give that new minister of electricity a one-page, one-line mandate.
But it's not worked.
But hold on a second, he's attracting investment in. So they are using the opportunity of the problem with ESCOM to bring in new alternative sources of energy, and that's why investors are coming in. Look, ESCOM is that old utility like NEPA.
Yeah.
But we want to do solar. So you come in, Rarify, with your own $2 billion, right? Because you want to provide that. Professor here comes in, doctor comes in here and says, I want to do $2 billion in another form of renewable. But because the environment is opened up, so we need to open up our electricity. Look at the TCN, for example, when we look at the energy. These are TCN, if we need to allow people to come in very quickly. The FDB wanted to help us a few years ago, I think under Buhari's administration. They brought in someone from EFDB to help us head the transmission company of Nigeria. He didn't last. So we need to open up. When we say you are open for business, and I used this illustration yesterday, an Igbo man, when he says he's open for business, he's not just opening the doors of the shop. He is there, sitting down there. He is chasing customers.
Okay, boss. Well, some clarification. When you were using the example,
So you cannot lie your way, okay, out of economic doom that you are superintending or the ones you are supervising. I brought back that video just to answer the question of why are the investors not coming to Nigeria? It is by them coming that you can now say, oh, you have a FDI, foreign direct investments, not cheap money that are mostly stolen at the end of the day, cheap money for a cheap loan and then make it disappear with no effect on your economy. The ones that they are trying to make themselves feel better, that they are doing anything better. You have to be there. You do not have to actually go everywhere to ask people to come to you. You must show that you are open for business. But these ones are opened for a different business. And it is a business of looting, stealing, what corruption cannot do. That's what they say, what corruption cannot do doesn't exist. Right? So again, I do apologize for this kind of screen read or so. So I am going to possibly try something else to see if I could get it anyhow better for us. But bear with me. I am dealing with, Anyway, there is one of the lies told by Tifnumbu and his crew. And that lie was that they have secured a $6 billion investment in power, which now ended up to be a white, or should I say a lie. So Tifnumbu and his gang, they made an announcement in one of all the lies they've told you in the last 1 year. The lies about them having a $6 billion investment from TotalEnergy. Now, they came out later to say, no, we did not sign any deal with Nigeria. But for us to know that they actually have deals with supposedly responsible government. So they signed this $6 billion with another country instead. Angola. Now, Angola, which is also the oil-producing country in Africa, okay? According to the CEO of the TotalEnergy, they said Nigeria's inconsistency in policy formulation. Listen, they said, Poyen, who spoke with panelists of the African CEO in Kigali in Rwanda, said The inconsistency in policy-making decision led to the diversion of the project from Nigeria to Angola, a country with a more stable policy framework. Now, when you are praying for Tifnubu to succeed, what you should possibly be asking yourself is, what kind of characters is Tifnubu surrounded himself with? What type of characters? Is it characters like the Adebayo, Peculiar Mercy, Benkele Mess? You cannot lie your way out of economic doom. Listen to Minister of Darkness of Nigeria briefly.
Or non-funding of subsidies from government. The last time I spoke about this, I put the generating company's debt at 1.3 trillion and that of gas supply legacy debt at about $1.3 billion. There is no sector that will survive with such each debt. So it's something that must be resolved before the sector stabilizes. We all know what we experienced in February and some part of March, when generation was down. Almost the entire country was in blackout, and people were complaining here and there until we took steps to make sure we are resolving this issue and we have improvement in supply to help people down. The resolution of the sector obligations with presidential approval to defray legacy debts to gas companies to allow efficient gas supply for the sector going forward, and with payment mechanism to address generating companies' debts to ensure necessary maintenance are resolved and evacuation capacity optimized. Mr. President has approved that these debts will commence the pay down of the debts, both the gas debt and the generating companies' debt. I think Mr. President also deserves a round of applause for granting us this direct cash payments, maybe future royalties for gas, and probably promissory notes for the unpaid portion. Then the upgrade and expansion of infrastructure, which is also a major issue that the industry has. Infrastructure development with additional 463 megawatts transmission evacuation capacity added to the grid through the ongoing Presidential Power Initiative. This is all we know as a Siemens project. On resumption of Mr. President, we decided that we must continue with this project that started under the last administration, but slowed down due to COVID and some other reasons. And in December 2023, together with the Chancellor of the Republic of Germany, Mr. President, they both signed an acceleration agreement that will ensure that we move on at a faster speed to implement this Presidential Power Initiative. And we have seen the impact of this. The pilot stage is almost concluded. The pilot stage involved importation of 10 power transformers and importation of 10 mobile substations. All of them have arrived in the country. And installation and commissioning have begun. So the little improvement we are witnessing today is not by accident. It's by sheer hard work and determination. And we have seen the impact of that in our power supply. We can only improve on that. This was made possible through the signing of an accelerated performance agreement in December 2023, supervised by Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Chairman Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Additionally, the government has put in place a required framework to achieve an injection of 3.5 million meters into the power sector, 1.5 million meters through the World Bank Distribution Support Recovery Program, DSREP, and 2 million meters through the Presidential Metering Initiative. To ensure that there is an end to estimated billing and to achieve metering of majority of our consumers, power consumers, Mr. President formed the Presidential Metering Council to oversee the Presidential Metering Initiative, so that in the next 4 to 5 years, we are going to wipe out, completely eliminate the metering gap that we have today, that is put at over 7 million meters. And I'm actually privileged to be the chairman of this council, while Mrs. Olufik Benjamin, the SC Energy to Mr. President, is the secretary to this council. Beyond infrastructure, even still on infrastructure, When we came in, I mentioned that there were lots and lots of uncompleted projects by the transmission company of Nigeria, on which the country has spent hundreds of billions of naira. But we have not seen the impact of this project because they were not completed. We have over 100 projects going on in transmission company of Nigeria. About over
nuisance leleyi nuisance leleyi.
No doubt. See, I have changed the connection, and I hope it's a bit better now. It's not blurry, no? Right. Let's proceed. That is Nigeria's Minister of Darkness. And remember, they have just approved for him $500 million. So that $500 million alone. So that Tinubu's government can buy meters, electricity meters for you. You know that? Good. So it is these policy inconsistencies and lies. Like, you know, you lie. When people lie and they begin to believe their own lie, that is dangerous. You lie to deceive people, not to deceive yourself. But in a situation whereby the modus operandi is just to lie, and it's like their normal thing, it's more or less like the state policy, the government policy. Investors won't come to such place. You are never going to get electricity with these guys for the next 100 years. You won't. But writing speeches and telling you what they want to do, what they would have done. If others have done it, they wouldn't have to come and do it. But now they just have to do it, so give them time. 1 year of shege, 7 more to go. No real investment in 1 year. And it is all promises cancelled. Well, a broke country, put it that way, a country that is bedeviled with scavengers, scroungers, pickpockets, taxmen, agbero, tax collectors, people who don't create wealth, they only take it, snatch it or take it and run with it, kind of. Economic voodoo that they have been practicing on you for 8 years, continue now for the 9th year. But the same criminals are telling some of those who are too dull to see through the lies about student loan. Do you know that the student loan story is back again? And there are already willing mugus that are going to make the con job more perfect. Tinubu's government, they have finally released a link where you can sign up for student loan. Okay? And according to them, it is going to be first come, first serve. And they put that officially, they call it, it's going to be phases. That is, some of you will be given money. Many of you won't be given a dime. And that's what you call con job. Because they will come out tomorrow and say, did people get money from student loan? Yes. I got money. I got it. I got it. So great. How many people got money from the student loan? That is where the con job becomes more conny. because the number will be doled out by the criminals. Tifnumbu and his gang. Why the money goes into private pocket if there is any? But you see, you have people who are comfortable spending 90 billion naira on people to go and pray in Mecca. And they call it a subsidizing Mecca Hajj. But the same people only have just a 5 billion or 5.5 billion naira for more than 7 million students. And you kind of want to believe the fraud. I will be here, I promise you. The people that want to do student loan but can't really pay, the lecturers. What does that tell you?